Alright, so we got a somewhat brand new feature from Gemini that lets you generate an interactive visualizations. It could be a calculator or a simulation that lets you learn anything or simulate something or calculate something using the coding capability of Gemini. So basically Gemini is going to build the nice looking interface, which later you can adjust the value or change the numbers or sliders or maybe turning on or off certain elements in that simulation or visualization. Now, this feature is not exactly new. It was announced about a month ago, but of course, usually Gemini will release the brand new feature in stages. So some people might be getting the feature first and the rest might have to wait, but it doesn't matter now. So I will show you how you can actually generate some nice looking visualizations like these examples using the Gemini platform. And of course, it is very useful if you are a student or maybe if you are a professional worker and you want to create some calculator or simulations. Those can be generated using the Gemini models right here in the Gemini platform. So let me show you how. First, let's open gemini.google.com. I'm using the desktop web version, but I think it should work on the mobile app and the desktop app version of Gemini. Now, after that, in the prompt, I highly recommend to incorporate keywords like interactive visualization, or maybe interactive calculators, or maybe interactive simulations. So basically, by incorporating one of these keywords, it should at least guarantee the likelihood that Gemini will generate that simulation within the chat window of the Gemini platform. And by the way, I need to clarify that it is not actually utilizing the canvas mode. No, you don't have to, because the visual sits right there in the same chat window that Gemini used to generate the answer or the response. So you don't have to enable the canvas feature. Now, in this case, I'm going to use this prompt. Please generate an interactive visualization to help me decide the best AI model, local AI model for coding based on the amount of VRAM and RAM of the computer. Okay, generate an interactive visualization. Okay, and the next thing that is very important is you have to select the Pro variation. If you select flashlight or flash, there is a good chance that it might not be able to generate that visualization. So make sure to select the Pro variation. And regarding the thinking level, it's up to you. I mean, for most use cases, I think that the standard thinking is fine. But if your request is complex or maybe very difficult, then go ahead and use the extended variation. But for me, the standard is totally fine. And after that, you can click submit and just wait for the answer from Gemini. Now, it's going to give you some text answer first, and then it's going to generate the visualization. So it's going to take a bit longer because of that. And of course, because it is coding, it's going to be very, very mindful when generating the code, because, you know, it has to be as accurate as possible. After all, we are creating a sort of calculation or simulation. Now, another thing that you need to know when you are using this feature is the amount of credits that it's going to consume when you are when Gemini is generating the answer. So this is still very new. In fact, it was released maybe less than 24 hours ago when I'm recording this video. But basically now on Gemini, there is a usage limit, the 5-hour and the weekly reset usage limit. So in the web version, for example, you can open settings and then go to usage limits, and you can see how much credits that you have left on your Gemini account. So this is the 5-hour usage limit. It's going to reset every 5 hours. And as you can see, I already consumed 50% of my 5-hour limit. And then there is also the weekly limit. Now, from my testing, after generating several simulations on Gemini, usually it's going to consume about 1% of the 5-hour usage limit. So I think it is quite substantial, but also not a lot. And I don't think people will generate, one one new simulation every minute. So I think for most people, I think that limit is not a problem. Anyway, let me just go back to the chat, and okay, we got the text answer, and then Gemini is now generating the visual. Okay, that looks nice. Now I got this value that I can change. Okay, so as you can see here, we got the status optimal, and then compatible or incompatible. So yeah, if I change the number to, let's say, okay, it's kind of the opposite. Okay, let's say if I got only 8 gigabytes of VRAM, and as you can see, now only one model that is optimal. But if I change that to 32 gigabytes, now most models are optimals for this theoretical computer. Now, if you don't quite like it, you can actually still ask Gemini to modify some aspects of this simulation. For example, I don't like entering the values manually, so I'm going to ask Gemini, please change that manual value input into sliders. Okay, I think sliders makes more sense, and then click submit. Now, it's not exactly the best looking in my opinion. For some reason, the visual here is lackluster. I think Gemini can do a lot better than that, but for some reason, when it comes to creating a simulation, I think the emphasis is not for the visual. The emphasis is actually the accuracy of the generation. So I think it makes sense that the visual is not going to be as pretty, although I think Gemini should be able to make it to look somewhat more acceptable. And also there is some problem as well, like in this case, the positions should be switched for the VRAM and RAM, but other than that, it seems to be working just fine. And also, I noticed that during my test, it's actually sometimes throwing an error or an answer that is not able to be rendered in the chat window. Like in this case, I got this answer from Gemini, and yeah, it's not actually a simulation. It's not even a code that I can download and run it somewhere. So yeah, that can happen from time to time when you are using the Gemini model. Now, let me just check the answer. Okay, now it looks way better. So I can mess around with the slider, and yep, that's actually way better. It's changing in real time. So this is amazing. Honestly, it's really good. So wow, that's actually really good. Yep, I think this is way better than the previous generation. So that's basically how you can generate some simulations or calculators or visualizations about anything using the new feature of the Gemini platform. So I hope you learned something from this video. And if you want to see perhaps other cool things that you can do with AI, then subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you on my future videos. I wish you a great day ahead.